दुख खुदा के हुए मैं आकर के वोट अपना कर्तव्य निभा रहा हूँ, वोट दे के जा रहा हूँ।
सवाल ही नहीं होता कि कोई कास्ट पे हम यंग जनरेशन वोट दें, कभी नहीं। हम सिर्फ डेवलपमेंट, एम्प्लॉयमेंट, इसी सब चीज पे वोट देने वाले हैं।
अपना वोट का जो अधिकार मिला है, सही मजबूत सरकार लाने के लिए ईमानदार और स्वच्छ व्यक्ति को वोट देना चाहिए।
आप एक एक वोट करके चीजें अपने आसपास की बदल सकते हैं। सो वी हैव सम राइट्स एंड वी शुड यूज इट।
All right. High voter turnout was seen in the 8th phase of the Lok Sabha polls as well for those 64 seats across 7 states. Fate of big guns like Rahul Gandhi, Varun Gandhi, Rabri Devi, Ramvilas Paswan were all sought yesterday. Rajdeep Sardesai, Editor-in-Chief, CNN-IBN, is joining in with his take on the 8 phases of polls. Morning, Rajdeep. Thanks much for joining in this morning after a heavy day yesterday, especially after field trips to the place where the action was and will be. What is the sense you're getting now that you've really covered so much of ground and felt the pulse? Are you getting a sense that the election tracker results of April 3rd are kind of getting diluted in terms of support for BJP?
Look, I think certainly in the first phase of the elections, my sense is that the BJP has been well on track, particularly in the first 3 or 4 rounds. And wherever there was a direct contest between the BJP and Congress in those states, the Madhya Pradeshs, the Rajasthan, the Gujarats, to an extent Maharashtra, barring Karnataka to some extent, and Punjab, I would say in most of the states where there is a direct contest, the BJP has been the beneficiary because there has been this overwhelming mood for change that one senses. It is really in the Hindi heartland, in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, where there are a few question marks that have emerged. In Bihar, there seems to be some polarization that has taken place around Lalu. He's getting back his traditional Muslim Yadav vote. And in UP, particularly in eastern UP, caste is still an important factor. Now, these are the critical seats, the 32 seats of Uttar Pradesh, of eastern UP, and a large belt of Bihar, around 20 seats, total about 52 seats, where the BJP is finding it a little bit more difficult than they found it in other parts of the country. So yes, broadly I would say the trend of the tracker is right, but whether the BJP will cross 250 as we had predicted, or whether they will be more around 220, 225, I think that is now the real question. I do believe though that the NDA will be, in my view, certainly over 220 and possibly over 250. But I think that 220 versus 250 just depends on how well the BJP in particular performs in Uttar Pradesh in these last 2 phases. The one that went to polls yesterday and the one that goes to the polls on the 12th.
Wait, just a minute. Give me the range for NDA and BJP separately. Do you expect the BJP would even get a sub 200 number at all? Is that a worst case scenario? And what is the upper case?
That's the worst case scenario, is a sub 190 number, but I still think that the BJP is more likely to be above 200, and with the kind of allies, I'm including TDP now of course as part of the NDA, I sense that the BJP will be it's certainly over 220, or the NDA will certainly be over 220, and as I said, if they have got their calculations in UP and Bihar right, then they will be over 250. Okay. UP and Bihar remain the two imponderables just because of the competitive nature of the politics, particularly in this last phase in UP. And therefore, I'm a little hesitant to suggest that the BJP is definitely going to be over 230 on its own.
Okay. Rajdeep, hi, good morning. This is Sonia. First of all, congratulations on Ground Zero at Varanasi. It was a total pleasure to watch. And it was very interesting to see a couple of these smaller communities, the weavers, etc., that are now tilting a lot towards Kejriwal. Do you think Varanasi is still Modi's game, or could Kejriwal swing some votes in his favor as well?
Look, I think, Sonia, the fact is that Varanasi, urban Varanasi is likely to go with Modi. I think there is a strong urban support for Narendra Modi. It is the smaller, marginalized communities, poorer communities who are looking at Kejriwal. Rural Varanasi is certainly looking at Kejriwal with interest. Whether that now translates into enough votes for him to really take on Modi, I think there's a huge question mark on that. But I think that he has managed to create an impact without a doubt. And it does suggest, the very fact that he's created this impact, that there are people looking at options. That, you know, wherever people are finding options, they're examining them. If complete wave election, as has been suggested by some, then Punjab, the reports that we've got from Punjab, and I was there, clearly suggest a very strong feeling against the ruling Akali BJP government there. So I think it varies from state to state, and in fact AAP is doing very well in Punjab by all indications. But Varanasi itself, I think Modi will win. But I think he may not win with the kind of margin that he's going to win in Vadodara. I think that there is a lot of anger against Murli Manohar Joshi, the sitting MP of the BJP, for being a non-performing MP. I think there are smaller, poorer groups in Varanasi who feel left out, who are gravitating towards Kejriwal. And Ajay Rai, the Congress candidate, is also a relatively strong candidate. So, you know, I don't think Narendra Modi will win with the kind of margin in Varanasi that he's expected to win in Vadodara.
Is the RJD Congress combine really picking up in Bihar, you think, Rajdeep? Or is it just because of Lalu Prasad's, confidence that people are assuming that combine is gaining ground?
No, my sense is that it is certainly picking up ground. That's what I've sensed when I was there for a day. There was every sense, particularly in what we call the Kosi belt, where the Muslim population is well above 25% in most constituencies. Lalu is doing well. I think what has happened in Bihar is that the Nitish vote has moved towards the anti-Modi Nitish vote. The vote that Nitish Kumar had of the extremely backward caste or even groups, in particularly the Muslims, has seen Lalu as someone who can take on Modi at the national level, and that alliance with the Congress and NCP on the ground seems to have worked in Bihar. What is happening in UP on the other hand, particularly in the first few rounds, is the anti-Modi vote that is there seems to have got more split, and that has worked to the advantage of the BJP. So I see the BJP really its game plan working, at least in the first few rounds that took place in western and central UP. But in Bihar, I think the calculations have gone slightly awry because of the Lalu factor. So I would say that the BJP will be still the single largest party in Bihar, but whether it will get the kind of majority of 25-30 seats out of the 40, there's a huge question mark over that. In UP, on the other hand, at one time we were predicting 50-55. You know, there are yes, they've done very well in the first few rounds, but as we've entered eastern UP, I think, you know, a bit of the momentum has been halted, and I think caste is playing an important role. But even if the BJP gets 40 in UP, you know, that brings them within striking distance of their mission 272. So if they get 40 in UP, 20 in Bihar, then they, you know, are looking at 230, 240 for the NDA. And then if they can get extra seats, they believe in states like Odisha, possibly picking up some in the northeast, that will, and even in Tamil Nadu, and that, you know, gives them the advantage of possibly even moving over 250. So I think UP and Bihar remain the key to the final numbers of the NDA. But I still hold the view that the NDA is within striking distance of 272.
Oh.